All right, recording. Hi, I'm K.E. Ireland, and I'm here with
Nina Soden.
So, Nina, what do you write?
I write preternatural fiction, young adult, new adult.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what got you into writing?
Okay, so I used to live in Los Angeles, and I was an actress, and when I moved out here to Huntsville, it was kind of, I was in need of a creative outlet. So I started writing in order to be more creative in my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
So are you traditionally published or
No, I'm an
independent?
indie author.
Awesome.
So I'm a self-publisher, which allows me to have complete control over every aspect of my book, which is why I'm a huge advocate of that. Nobody telling me what it has to say or what it has to look like.
Absolutely. I understand that entirely. I did
So
the
you
same
are
thing.
indie author as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's see. Another question. Do you have any questions?
I would love to ask you some questions. Okay,
Okay.
so what is the genre of yours? And I've heard you talk about it a little bit, and it sounds a little bit like sci-fi, fantasy.
Yes,
Okay.
mostly sci-fi. I call it space opera because
Space opera. Okay.
it's more in line with Star Trek.
Okay.
As opposed to more of a hard sci-fi like can't remember the name. David. Shoot. The name will come
But
to
it's
me
more
later.
like Star Trek. Okay.
Yeah, it's more like Star Trek, where the focus is more on the characters as opposed to the science.
Okay, so is it lots of different universes and different types of creatures that's coming together, or is it just one race that you're looking at more than the rest?
Currently, my books focus around one race, and
Okay.
they're the Gilon, and their semi-symbiotic friends, the Hyphocos.
Okay, very cool.
But there are other aliens involved, and they do have intergalactic trade
Okay. Okay. And you have 3 books so far.
so far.
And they are a series, not individual books?
Series, yes.
Okay.
I know it doesn't come across as that on the cover
Okay,
at the
so
moment.
what age group do you recommend for your books?
12 and up.
12 and up. Okay. All right. Very cool.
All right, so what about you? What age group do you recommend for yours?
Mine are young adult, new adult. I have had kids as young as 12 read them and enjoy them. But typically with young adult, the majority of my readers are actually women in their 30s and 40s. So
Yeah.
I guess they appeal, young adult appeals, I think, more to women. And I think it appeals to them mainly because it's an escape, especially those moms when they think all the time and
Yeah.
they're taking care of kids all the time, that sometimes you just want to read for pleasure. You just want to read to escape.
Absolutely.
You can have a candy.
So, are your books in a series, or
I do. I have 2 series. So the first series is the Blood Angel series, and there's 4 books in that series. And it follows this girl, Alira, as she discovers who she is and awakens to what she is. And I'm not going to say what she is. And then the second series is Futuristic Dystopian, and it follows this selection class. There is one primary character, Zelina, but it follows this class of kids that grew up together and watches them as they transition into Sector C society.
Okay, so what is Sector C?
In the future, the world, or the U.S., is now divided into sectors, and Sector C is a military base in Texas, or what used to be Texas.
Okay. So
Yeah.
why is that special?
Why is Texas special?
Yes.
To me, it really, I've never lived there, but I have a military background. So having that, I liked the idea of the structure that the military provides and how bases are designed. You pretty much have your own little world there on a base, many bases. You have hospitals, you have access to shopping, you have housing. So there's so much that you can actually build a community in one location and grow and never have to really leave that base.
Right.
So that's where I took it, is if the world kind of had this war and crumbled, what areas could potentially survive? And that's where I started that series with. Is Sector C is one of those pockets in the U.S. that actually survived.
Right. Okay.
You can have a piece of candy, sweetheart.
Children.
Chocolate attracts people.
Yes,
Kids,
it does.
little people.
Kids. So what is this? So you want to write a book thing?
So that is a book that I have coming out probably in the next month and a half, 2 months. And it's to help authors, young or old, start their journey as to being an author. I do a lot of these cons, and one of the biggest questions I get, one of the most common questions I get is, I have this idea, how do I turn it into a book? So you as an author know it's not like, oh, there's an idea and then you publish tomorrow. There's a process.
There is.
And because I get the question so often, I've had it 5 times today. I get it all the time when I'm at these events. I decided to put my process on paper. And it's basically a workbook for other authors who are trying to figure out their process. And it gives them an idea of where to start. So I'm pre-selling that right now, and hopefully we'll have that out in the next month and a half, and get that into the hands of some new authors, because I would love to see some new authors here.
Okay, yeah, that would be great. So are your series finished?
The first one is, the Blood Angel series is 4 books, and it is finished.
Okay.
The second series, I have another book coming out in probably a month or 2. It should be out by the end of this year. Cross your fingers. I'm really hoping. It's with the editor right now, and I'm in the middle of rewrites. So as soon as that is out, I think that series is over.
Okay, cool. How long does it take you to write a book?
It depends. I've written one in as little as 6 months, and then I've written one in as long as 2 years. So it really depends on what stories. Now, the first book was the longest. That took me 2 years, and I think it's because I didn't really know what I was doing.
Yeah.
I was brand new. I didn't go to school for writing. I don't have a literature degree. I have a theater degree, theater and military science. So,
well, you know, knowing how other characters think is kind of a big part of writing.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, if you can't get into the head of your main character and talk about somebody that isn't you and doesn't think like you,
then it's hard.
Yeah, especially when your character is smarter than you.
Yeah. Well, and I think that as you go in a series, it gets easier to write it because you've developed your characters so much that you know how they think. You can say, oh, she would do this in this situation, or he would do this in this situation. So the first book did take me the longest. Now, my second series, both of those books took me 2 months, or took me 6 months. They were the shortest. But the third book in the series, I've been working on for a while now. So
understandable. I've been fighting my books for like 15 years now.
Yeah. Now, do you have a 4th book coming out?
Yes, I am working on book 4 for NaNoWriMo this year.
Oh,
so
okay.
Hopefully I will have at least 50,000 words written by the end of 30 days.
And how far are you? It is the 4th?
Behind.
Okay. I'm surprised you don't have a computer sitting here doing it now then.
It's hard to sell and write at the same time, especially with so much distractions. Because, you know, like I said, my main character is smarter than me, so I have to really struggle to outsmart him and give him problems that he can't just immediately solve.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. And this is your lead character?
Yes, that is my main character.
And the artist?
And the artist.
Yep, she's hiding. That's nice.
There she is. She waves.
All right. Anything else?
I can't think of anything. Where can they find her? Yeah, where can we find you?
Oh, here at Nerdcon today and tomorrow, but online on Amazon.com and anywhere books are sold online. Just Google Nina, Nina, last name Soden, Soden.
Cool. Eric Flint. I knew I would come up with a name. He's hard sci-fi.
Okay. It only took one interview to come up with it, so that's good.
Yeah, I have things just don't automatically come to my mind when I want to speak them.
I hear you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.